Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Balance Blonde podcast, Soul on Fire. I am your host, Jordan Younger, and today we are going to dive deep with my favorite psychic medium of all time, MaryAnn DiMarco. I'm super excited because I just found out at the time of recording, which is about a week before this goes live, that today, while I'm recording this intro, is MaryAnn's birthday. So everybody go wish her a happy belated birthday. She's a Pisces. She's a magical soul. So MaryAnn has been on this podcast a few times before. I believe this is her fourth episode on the Balance Blonde podcast. So we will link the previous episodes that we've done with her in the show notes in case this is your first time listening to her on the show, or in case you've listened to the previous episodes and you want to have a refresher after this about how she first started tapping into her psychic gifts. The first reading that she did for me about 3 years ago when she was first on the podcast, and she was and still is the most legitimate medium I've ever spoken to, where she started saying so many incredible things about my family and my ancestors, had full-blown awesome conversations with my grandmother and my papa, my dad's dad. People who listened to that first episode, you guys will remember how my cute papa came in and told MaryAnn all about how he was in the war and he lived such an amazing life and he grew up in Arkansas. And the incredible detail with which MaryAnn described my grandfather's personality and the things that he had to say, as well as so many other angels and ancestors in my life, was truly mind-blowing. So that was my first real experience with a super legitimate medium. That was 3 years ago. Since then, MaryAnn has become such a close confidant in my life, such a close friend. You'll hear me saying in this episode that MaryAnn is like a spiritual mother to me. She's like my second mom, especially in the spiritual community, where I go to her every time I really need clarification on something, or if I'm not feeling well, or when I had the wedding coming up and was feeling really sick for years, as many of you guys know. I would go to MaryAnn and ask her, when am I going to feel better? When are the good times going to come? And she would talk to my angels, talk to the spirits and the energy, and she always would make me feel so much better. With such accurate information. She's never been wrong. So today we get into a lot of that. We talk about mediumship. She does some channeling for me. We talk about psychic intuition and how all of us are deeply intuitive and deeply psychic, which is always very exciting. She brought her friend Wayne with her. They drove into the city. So this is my second New York episode in a row. Last week we did Melissa Wood. So we recorded this episode with MaryAnn in the same room where I recorded with Melissa in my hotel room in New York. You'll hear MaryAnn and I talking about the fact that there may or may not have been many, many spirits and ghosts in this hotel room. They were all very kind. So we get into all those details. We get into so many questions that I had for MaryAnn about what happens to our souls when we pass away. Where do we go? What happens to spirits when we move into the next realm? How do we tap into our psychic nature? How do we find ourselves to be more intuitive with more depth? So we go into all of that. And like I was saying, MaryAnn's friend Wayne came with her. So you'll hear him in this episode. He was chiming in quite a bit and they were verifying things off of each other, which was really cool. So MaryAnn would get a psychic hit about something and then she would say, oh yeah, I feel that so strongly. Do you feel that too, Wayne? And he would either clarify or verify or say something else that he was feeling, which was kind of cool, especially for the skeptics out there, just to see that so many things that she picked up on, he was agreeing with, and he had specific things to say too. So if you at any point hear that he was talking in the background, but you couldn't hear him, my apologies that we didn't have 3 microphones when I was in New York. But we did hand him the microphone at one point, and he shared some really poignant messages as well. So this is just a fun episode all around. I know you guys are going to love it. I know you're going to love MaryAnn's energy. You can check out her first book, Believe, Ask, Act. We will put the link in the show notes so you can check that out. And if you want to learn more about her story, read the book. Also listen to her first episode on the Balanced Blonde podcast. Also, I've been getting so many questions lately on Instagram about psychic messages, intuition, mediumship, Pleiadians, aliens, all this good stuff. So this is a great episode for you to listen to and to dive deep into. And also that first episode with MaryAnn, which we'll link in the show notes, is a great one as well to dive deep and to learn. So before we dive into the episode, I wanted to give you a couple reminders. Number one, if you take the time to rate and review this podcast, I love to thank you by sending you a free copy of my Soul on Fire yoga ebook. So all you have to do is rate and review the Balanced Blonde podcast in iTunes. Send me a screenshot to my email, jordan@thebalancedblonde.com. And I will send you my free ebook as a thank you, all about yoga and all the awesome stuff. Secondly, I wanted to celebrate the fact that the Balanced Blonde digital store is now open, and I'm so excited. So you can find that on my website, thebalancedblonde.com, and just go up to courses on the top, or just go straight to the Balanced Blonde digital store, which we will link also in the show notes here, where you can now find all of my offerings online and in one place. So Waking Back Up to Your Own Soul has relaunched, my spiritual course that talks all about channeling, Pleiadians, Waking Back Up to Your Spirit, etc. Detox Your Life has also relaunched, my plant-based ebook, and you can find Soul on Fire, the yoga ebook, there too. We have a special deal running for the launch week. So this will just be running for a couple more days. So definitely get on top of it when you listen to this episode, because I think the deal will only be live until this coming Sunday, which is, what would that be? It would be like March 8th or March 9th. Forgive me if I don't know. Yeah, March 8th. And that is by using the code SOULFAM, SOUL FAM, at checkout for 11% off of the courses, the bundles, all the incredible fun things that we're offering. So lastly, before we dive into the episode, I want to thank our sponsor for today's show, Hum Nutrition. Hum Nutrition is my favorite beauty supplement company. I'm sure you've heard me talk all about them over the years on the podcast, because they are my go-to for all things supplements, pretty much. I take their Daily Cleanse, which is a liver cleansing supplement. It has so many good vitamins and minerals in it. It's very natural. Everything on Hum Nutrition is non-GMO, sustainable, pure and potent. Most of it is vegan. So if you're vegan like myself, you can just quickly check to see if the products that you're ordering on Hum Nutrition are vegan. If you're not sure where to start, which I think is how a lot of people feel with supplements, just know that you can talk to a registered dietitian or nutritionist on Hum Nutrition's website, which really sets them apart. You just take this quick 3-minute quiz, and then you can chat with a nutritionist about what your deficiencies are, how your body feels, and what you feel might best serve you when it comes to taking specific supplements and adding supplementation into your life. We also love the Mighty Night, which is overnight cell renewal for skin and body, helps you fall asleep. We love it so much that we gave out the Mighty Night in our gift bags at our wedding. It's full of just very good for you natural ingredients like CoQ10, valerian root, passion flower, peppermint, which are all good for falling asleep and also just good for digestion, for feeling well, all the good things. So I love Hum Nutrition. They're incredible. They're completely premium quality, always gluten-free, always top of the line. So use that code SOUL, SOUL, for 20% off of your first Hum Nutrition order at humnutrition.com. And now, without further chit chat, let's get into this amazing mediumship episode with MaryAnn. MaryAnn, I'm so happy that we're finally meeting in person, even though it feels like we've known each other forever.
It really does feel like that we've known each other forever. And I finally get to hug you and squeeze you.
Yes, you're
I'm
such
so
a
glad.
Spiritual, maternal energy in my life. And I turn to you for so many things every time I'm really not feeling well. And when I'm traveling and before we got married, I'm always like, MaryAnn, what's going on with me? What do you have to tell me? And you always are so kind and you give me your time and you are the most talented medium I've ever met. And I make a habit of meeting mediums and psychics because I'm obsessed. And your gift is next level. So tell our people listening, if they haven't heard the previous 2 episodes with you, who you are, what you do, and kind of how it all began.
Well, first, thank you for that high praise because I know that you do make a point to keep in check with your spirituality. And so I'm very flattered. Thank you so much. And I do feel like your spiritual mama sometimes, like that I just love your energy. And when you reach out, even when you don't, sometimes, right? I'm just prompted.
Yeah, you reach out to me and you are always spot on.
I'm like, wait a minute, I have something for Jordan. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And I love your energy and I'm happy to be here. And I am MaryAnn DiMarco. I'm a psychic medium and I've been reading people for years and years now. I love what I do. I connect with loved ones on the other side, not only your loved ones, but your guides and your angels. And I try to promote the love within you, the intuition within you to hear your own guidance and to get you guys to listen to spirit and then really to act on what it is they tell you to do. And so that's what I do, and I love it.
Yeah, that's the best part. The acting, because we all have such strong intuitions, but acting on it is a big part of actually making it part of your life.
Yeah.
So how did all of this begin? I know the first episode we had you on, you shared a lot of your background, but just a refresher. How did you become psychic? Was this a lifelong gift? I mean, I know the story, but tell us.
I started when I was very young. I knew that, well, I thought it was normal, actually. I would dream of people that were deceased. I would see things around me. I would know things before they happened. And my mom is super spiritual and was really into this connection with higher power and really understanding our intuition. And so she didn't excuse it away when I was a child. She would take me to meditation classes with her. I was meditating when I was like 5 and 6 years old, like sitting with all these people chanting and doing things that most 5-year-olds aren't doing. And I found that growing up that way made it all really normal and made it all acceptable to me. I didn't know that it was different. It wasn't until I got a little older that I knew it had a name, that it was this psychic sixth sense, this sort of a thing, this medium sort of a thing. And I didn't know what to do with it for many, many years. And then in my 30s, I was really in a bad place. I was depressed and going through a divorce, and it was really hard. And I was very grief-stricken because we had lost my father-in-law, whom I was very close with, quite tragically. And I wound up going to a spiritual healer named Pat Longo. And she said to me, I know how to teach you how to do this. When I sat with her and I started to explain the experiences that I've had all my whole life, she said to me, you're just not hearing them the right way. And she told me that spirit comes in my own voice, which was earth-shattering to me. I didn't realize that. I thought it was like some spooky disembodied thing. And it wasn't. It's really that voice within you that is being guided by the other side. And once I learned how to listen, within just a couple of weeks, I was reading people in her classes. It was like, oh, that's how you do it. Like the light bulb went off.
Wow.
And I've been reading ever since. And I absolutely love what I do for a living. It's fascinating. It's reassuring as a human, as a soul walking this earth. It's just comforting to know that there's a bigger picture out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what have the spirits told you? Where do they go when they die? I know that's a very big question from...
That's a really good question, actually. Well, I'll give you two scenarios. One is when I've learned how to control my visits and dreams. If you have dreams of lost loved ones on the other side and they feel really lucid and very clear and very tangible and something that's real, really real, that's a visit. And you guys shouldn't ignore them. Don't ignore your visits because they're really beautiful experiences. It's like little visiting hours with your loved one. And in recent years, I've learned how to control them. And so when I realize there's a visit going on, I'm like, oh, wait, that's a lost loved one. And I can strike up a conversation. And and I've had a little control over that. So I recently have been asking them, so what goes on the other side? And they always shush me. As
we're
if
not supposed
to know.
That's what I always think too. I get this very grand feeling that we're not supposed to know.
Mystery of
because
faith,
if we knew, we would kind of know the mystery.
Supposed to be a little bit of a mystery because we are here to learn. And I think it would be a distraction if we really knew the grand picture that is the universe. Having said that, what I've channeled and what I've heard from Spirit when I do readings is that there is work to do on that other side. There is no worldly woe holding us down, that we release all of that when we leave this earth, which I find really beautiful. And I think it clears us to be able to get to work, that our soul remembers each lifetime, and that with each lifetime, we take an imprint of the experiences that we had, and those experiences carry us through, and we learn, and we continue to learn and build as a soul. And that there is this beautiful peace and light and warmth on that other side. And there's a bigger understanding of how the universe works, this beautiful infinity symbol between us and them, and that we need them and they need us. And that I find the most comforting. I'm not afraid to die. I don't know how I'm going to get there. At what point are not my favorite thoughts in the world. But I feel like it's just a continuation of life. And I find that just fascinating and comfortable.
I do too. Something I always think about and wonder with spirits who mediums speak to is if they're going into their next lifetime, are we not able to speak to them anymore? Is the soul more of like an ever-present thing?
It's a big question. Well, Kim Kardashian just had that whole, did you see that?
No.
That she was talking about her youngest baby being the reincarnation of her father.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and that a psychic had told her that when she was in Bali, and no one even knew that the surrogate was pregnant. It was very interesting, and a few people have told her that. And I think that sometimes that can happen. For the most part, and so that's like a quicker turnaround for me. For the most part, when I read people, I find that I can go back as far as great-grandparents. Sometimes what I've experienced is that I hear a lot of people say, oh, that person never comes through. I'm surprised that they came through. And so sometimes I think it's just a frequency thing.
Right.
But the continuation on that other side, and whether they come back or not, or they move on to a higher level of consciousness, which can also happen. I think we're the only ones on that time frame.
Right.
And so I don't think there is a time thing that goes on.
Because time doesn't really
over
exist
there.
Up
Yeah,
there.
Sort of more our illusion that we've created. And so the idea then being that they can kind of swoop in and swoop out. Some psychics believe that our soul could split on that other side, and there's like this osmosis sort of thing that takes place. And so that has something to do with reincarnation. I have not experienced that, but I find that there's like 100-year kind of a thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
That for me.
Yeah.
That I've gone way back on people. People are like, hey, that person's been gone for 40 years. You know, I hear that often, and they're really surprised.
That's really cool. And then what's your take on soulmates and twin flames and like being with people through the lifetimes? Because I really, really feel that me and Jonathan have been together in many lifetimes. And then I have other people who I feel are soulmates as well that I didn't end up with that maybe I did in previous lives.
So
what
there's
is
the
your
idea
take?
of soul packs, and that we travel with the same soul pack lifetime after lifetime, like it or not.
Right.
And so we always hear of this idea of unfinished business. You and Jonathan definitely have been souls together. I read past lives often, which is really fun.
How have we never done that?
I don't know how we've never done that. We have
it.
to have a total past life session. You'll love it. I don't, some people regress. I do a meditation thing, which I feel is a little bit
so nice.
comfortable. Yeah. But you guys have definitely been in a past life together. You have played the role flip-flop often, but you're so contractual that you always find each other again. You're very rarely any other role than each other's love interest.
Yeah.
And you often, both of you, go through pretty hairy times in your love lives before you get to each other. It's almost like you have to have a rough time of it before. And so before you see each other again, this way the appreciation comes back so strongly.
Yes. That's how I feel about us wholeheartedly, where I went through some really challenging relationships, and they make me appreciate what a good person he is, and so many little things about him that
it's the way he elevates you. I think that, you know, that I love. He's often been behind you. You've always been a strong voice in each lifetime, and he's always kind of that silent force that's behind you, which I really love about him. And I've never met him either. We have, you know, this is the first time I'm meeting you face to face. So
I can't wait.
I
for you
know
guys
that
to
he
meet.
does that calming effect. And he's done that lots of lifetimes. But when he has to say something, it's very clear.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a sensitive soul. And when he feels a certain way, he makes it known.
Makes it very known.
It's true. I feel like the wisdom that he shares with me is totally otherworldly and past lifetime vibes to it, because the way that he reminds me every day who I am, what's important to me, to rest, to slow down, is very wise, but disguised in like very normal conversation, but it's so wise.
There's a knowing, I think, that comes along with that as well. Even we're all flawed. And so even within those flaws, there's this sort of beautiful knowing that they're still right, that is still the one that's right. And I always explain it as there's this calmness that comes over. I know for myself with my husband, it's a calmness no matter what we're going through, no matter what chaos life may bring, no matter any high or any low. At the end of the day, and the beginning of each, I wake up content. And that level of peacefulness is my cue for it being exactly the way it's supposed to be. This is who is supposed to be by my side, because that there's never that question there, and it's from within. We can always question where we are in life and who we're with and what we're doing, but that inner knowing just never wavers.
Yes.
Which is lovely.
Absolutely.
And that to me has that very strong twin soulmate, and we have many. We have them in friendships. We have them in family. We have them in people that we just know, like you and I, like we just have this connection. We just know it.
Yeah,
we're
it's
supposed
so
to be
strong.
here, you know, speaking about things together and helping each other heal the way we do. And I think that's really beautiful. And I think it's something that I love to teach, because when you bring that into the world, you just spread that kind of love and peacefulness. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Makes the world a much more loving place.
Because we're all connected.
Right. We really are.
We really
I know.
are.
So in that way, do you not really believe in coincidences?
Oh, no.
Okay, neither do I.
My husband always laughs at me because I'm like, he'll say, maybe it was a coincidence, you know, and I say, nope.
No,
there's no coincidence for me. Even what can feel like a disastrous mistake is purposeful. There is a reason why these things happen, and it's how we dissect them and how we interpret our own journey and our own story. That is what the universe has given us as our true gift, that we have the power to interpret and to create whatever it is that we want, really. and how we
Right.
want to perceive things. And that's where I think this whole idea of something bigger than ourselves but it's part of us as well. And it's very orchestrated.
Yeah.
Part of that's super orchestrated,
Yeah. I can see that.
the mechanics of it all.
Yeah. So for people who are feeling very psychic,
Yes.
what would be your first teachings to them of how to hone in on that and how to make it more a part of their life?
The first thing is when I have students come to me, I have a lot of students who come to me feeling they don't really know why they're in the classroom. They're not really sure. And I always tell them it's their first psychic acknowledgement. They listened to a cue. They listened to their gut who said, maybe you should take that class. Maybe you should think about going in and sitting down with that psychic lady and hearing some information. That in itself is listening to your intuition. So the idea that they followed that cue and they listened that first time and they said, let me go take this class with that psychic lady. You've already opened up. You're listening to your intuition. You're understanding that it's important. There's something there. Why am I going to this? Why do I need to learn how to connect? If you can accept the fact that you're supposed to be there, believe that you're worthy enough to be able to connect and have that gift, you will already start to open up yourself to the energy of guidance and listening and understanding what you're hearing. That cue, the universe responds to that cue. And it's instantaneous.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So basically just trust that
believe.
inner guidance. If there's somewhere that you want to show up, somewhere that feels like you should be there, then
repetitive themes are very interesting. I always tell people sometimes they wait for a psychic to kind of give them the cue or, that validation, but you really don't need a psychic to do that. I mean, I love that people come to me. I want them to, but you yourself have that ability. So if you're paying attention to the fact that 3 people told you about their acupuncturist and then you were walking and you randomly saw this acupuncture office and, that repetitive theme and you starting to pay attention to that, is you listening to the guidance. That is you using your abilities and your intuition and understanding, okay, they're beating something into my head. I'm seeing all these signs. Let me pay attention to it. We all want to deal with signs. We'd love to put the signs out there. And I always tell people, put the sign out there. And if you've seen it once, then trust that the universe has you and that you can hear them and listen. And so that's what I teach my students coming in is really that trust, knowing you can do it, you can make the connection, and that there's a reason why Spirit put you in this position in the first place and got you thinking about it.
I love that because when those themes come up, like you're saying about the acupuncturist, that stuff happens all the time in everyday life. And literally acupuncture is that for me right now because people keep reminding me to be more consistent with it. And then you reminded me today.
So we're channeling it for you.
Right. And it's something that I need to reprioritize in my life again. It's so clear.
It's important. I find it more comforting, honestly, than anything. We're continually being guided. There is love around us all the time, and it's accessible to us if you so choose. And our thoughts go along with that because they're so powerful. And if you can push your fear to the side, embrace it in a way, right? But get it to the side enough that you can open up yourself up to their guidance and understand that they are here for us and that we have the gift to connect and that we're entitled to. That's when the magic starts to really happen. You can really start to manifest amazing things in your life, not only for yourself, but for others. And so I love giving messages to other people.
Yeah.
And if you get to that point or that level where you feel like you want to start to listen for other people, you should take classes and be consistent and understand that it is important and you have to be careful with people's feelings and really know how to communicate and understand your signs and symbols and that there is, a skill behind it that should be taught. And find a good teacher to do that.
Yeah, I'm at that stage where I would really like to take classes which we will totally talk about.
Yes.
Because I get messages all the time for people. And I have to say, thank you to you for even ever bringing this into my consciousness because before the first time we ever did a podcast together and I met you, I don't think any of this was even really in my realm of thinking. And then after hearing you say that spirit comes to you in your own voice, I'm like, oh my God, maybe I don't just have the most overactive mind that I ever thought could exist and just get all these ideas. And I started automatic writing, which is something that you teach in your first book.
Yep.
And now I get messages all the time. I mean, all the time, but I don't really ever know what to do with them.
You trust the messages.
Yeah.
And what you want to do, if you don't know what to do with them, you have to start. I do a very basic exercise with my students. You ask who, what, where, when, why. Who is this message for? What do you want them to know? Where is it coming from? How do I get it to them? Because the idea of delivering a message, I know we see a lot of psychics on TV and, they're walking into stores and they're doing, that's great. It's just for television. They make them do that. But you don't really want to give somebody a message unless they're ready to receive it.
Right.
And so you sort of have to ask, how do I get this message to somebody? I have a lot of the time, my boundaries are up, when I'm shut down and I'm not always channeling. But children are allowed to come through to me, and I often will get children kind of break the barrier. And they'll want me to contact their parent or their person. And I tell them, no, you have to arrange that the other way around.
Right. They have to find you.
95% of the time, that parent will find me.
That's
it could be a year later.
Cool. Do you tell them like, oh, your child came to me?
Usually I have to have some sort of connection.
Right.
To the person. Very rarely is it a stranger. That has happened though. No, I just kind of do the reading. Or I'll say I knew at some point we would be together. I have one friend that I definitely told her, your daughter has been arranging this for years.
Oh my gosh.
She came to me in the most random of ways. I'd never had met her, but I knew her mom. And after she passed, she said, I'm going to take care of this. She was like at my bedside. It was bizarre. And I was reading people that had nothing to do with the family. I didn't even know these people. And sure enough, they knew them. They were connected. She was popping up in readings. And then finally the mom came to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
They will definitely make their point.
Yeah.
They are every energy that they are very consistent and insistent about making sure that the messages that are supposed to be heard will be heard.
I love that.
It's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
So
neat.
When it comes to psychics, I feel like there's a lot of different types of gifts, right? Because you're totally a medium. And then your friend Wayne, who's here, can see colors.
He's
and
a psychic.
Probably a lot more other things
he
too.
sees different things. He's neat. If you give him a name, he can tell you all about that person. It's fascinating.
Like a name of someone who's passed away?
Both.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, we have to do that.
Yeah.
We should. I only have 2 microphones, but at the end of the episode, we should have you do that, Wayne. If you're up for it.
We'll do that.
You didn't know what you came along for the ride of today.
Wayne kept me company on my ride into the city.
Yeah. So what are like the range of gifts and how do people find?
Well, I tell people try not to. I know we've all heard of clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsensitive. We see, hear, and feel spirit. But what I tell people is try to not get fixated. I have a lot of students who get fixated. I don't see them or I'm not hearing them, right? And then they get really thrown off and they feel blocked. What I tell people is pay attention to all of the senses, not just the sixth. Because what happens is spirit might come with a smell. They might come with a memory. They can come with feelings from within you, chills, or someone can brush up against you. You have to kind of really open yourself up to the idea that different spirits might communicate in different ways. And that if we can tap into many different frequencies, you can hear all kinds of different things or experience, I should say, all kinds of different things. And so when I'm reading somebody, I might have an energy that's really clear and speaking to me just like I'm speaking to you. But for some reason, I might have another energy of that same family who wants to only show me signs and symbols in my third eye.
Right.
Or another one might want me to know that they were a baker and I can start to taste cookies and sugar in my mouth and see powdered sugar being thrown at me. Yeah. And so what I found was I've always been a very expressive person. I did a lot of acting when I was a kid and I took on a lot of personalities, like that kind of a thing. And I think that's really helped me because I don't have a filter when it comes to
Right.
what's out there. And I'm not afraid to say what I see and hear and feel and, why am I seeing certain things? And it always makes sense to who I'm sitting with. And so I always tell people, try not to pigeonhole yourself or label yourself, because there's so much experience that you can have if you're open to many different ways of receiving that message.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah. I swear, ever since I've been in this room where we're recording, I've actually seen things. Do you feel that in here? Yeah.
I
and
feel
we're in a
like
hotel.
I feel like you can get touched.
That scares
as well,
me.
because you're super sensory.
Yeah.
But
that has literally happened.
What you're
to
seeing
me.
is kind of a circle and a pace sort of going around, and then the flashes.
Yeah, flashes. And I saw a white figure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I have the craziest chills. On the couch here, when I was in bed last night and all the lights were off, and I just get a bit scared. I mean, I'm super trusting, and I know that these spirits are all good. That's what I tell myself. I know it's not true, but this is what I tell myself.
Good energy, there could be heavier energy.
I know.
What I always say is do your boundary work, and that you're in charge. So we were just talking about, Wayne and I were just talking about on the way in here, seeing some pretty scary stuff.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, I saw some pretty scary things.
I get really scared.
What I learned is that I'm in charge. And so you have every right to say, you need to go.
I said that last night and it worked.
Good. Yeah, you can get nice and strong about it. And then if it feels, it's supposed to be a little fun.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. So I always
tell people, if you want to have a little fun with it, that's okay.
Yeah.
And so again, I'll just be like, well, who are you? I mean, remember, you're in a very historic area of New York right now. And so these buildings hold a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And so you can have a little fun with it. And then, like I said, if it's frightening, sometimes there's only one reason at this point why I see frightening things. And that's because I didn't ground or protect myself as much as I should have. And it's actually my spirit guides teaching me a lesson.
Right.
And I've come to realize now that I don't have to be frightened, and I sort of just calm down and I say, all right, well, what do you want me to do? And I either was doing too much reading, I didn't bring in my light and protect myself for the day, or I'm just exhausted and pushing myself in the wrong ways and not finding that balance of energy that I should be. And they like to come in and teach me a good lesson about that.
Makes sense.
So often you had a bad dream or something freaky. They'll show me.
Yeah. I get a little scared when I'm by myself because I'm so used to either being with Jonathan or being with someone. And then here I am in this big room all by myself.
Your family is always with you though.
Right.
And so remember that when you're because a lot of people who are psychic, by the way, have tremendous anxiety. And
that would be me.
They have a tough time because you're constantly feeling that energy around you. And so if you can start to acknowledge that it is psychic energy, universal energy, you will definitely calm down. And then remember that you at any time can bring in your loved ones. I'm sure your mom's mom.
Oh, yeah. I feel like she's so present.
Yeah. Like you just call her right in.
Right.
And she will be there for you. She's talking about the month of January as being significant as well. So,
like coming up?
Yeah.
No, not coming up.
No,
it just
so
ended,
either a birthday and anniversary of passing, or something significant happened in that month. And I actually am going to do a calendar.
My parents' anniversary.
Perfect.
They had a big 35th this year.
No wonder why. Okay. So this past January?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's celebrating that.
Aww.
And she said, you're going to have tons of things to celebrate, is what she's talking about. She said, stop worrying how limited our time can be here on Earth. You understand?
Yeah.
And she said, just respect sort of the moment or the vastness of it all. She said, did Jonathan change his hair or do something different?
All the time. He cuts his own hair, which drives me insane because it does not. Sorry, Jonathan, but he doesn't do that good of a job.
She's joking about that. She did put more travel around you as well. I don't know if are you going back to Bali or like doing some long trip like that?
I would love to.
Okay, so she's definitely putting that on there again. And she's telling me it has more of, this is really not work though. This is definitely like your own retreat kind of feeling. She's talking about you having babies sooner rather than later.
Yes.
And I don't know if you ever thought about having babies in close succession, or there's twins around in the family, but there is a close
I keep hearing that. We don't have twins running in the family.
So sometimes it's one right after the
right,
other.
Right.
Okay.
I could see that.
And she said, but don't forget how to celebrate.
Okay.
You've forgotten a little bit how
Yeah,
to celebrate
I
because
have.
you've had a tough time. And so she's reminding you to celebrate. You have gratitude all the time, but she's reminding you it's okay to kind of laugh again and sort of give in a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And she says that because that theme is it's going to continue.
I
she
like
doesn't want you to
that.
let go of that.
So do we know
They just pop in.
about these children who are coming in?
Yes.
Do we know if they're boys or girls? Do we know when they're coming? Because
Sometimes I know if they're boys or
girl.
girls. Sometimes I do. I've outed a lot of pregnancies. Sad to say, but I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I always should.
Well, you outed my wedding.
I did out your wedding, but we didn't really know, right? We knew what it was.
Well, you said he's proposing, which I knew. Like we're gonna be together forever. But I'm pretty sure he proposed the next week.
I think he did.
And it was my followers who were like, "MaryAnn,
I know they called it right out.
I know,
didn't they?
It was so great.
She is saying the month of September.
Ooh,
as being very
that.
significant.
I love that.
And she said because of your work and your healing journey, it feels like a comfortable time. I don't know if you have a break around that time, but something does feel like you're a little less busy.
I'll probably take a break.
There you go. And you're able to sort of breathe a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. That feels good.
Yeah.
She says, let's go down by the water. She said to you. Okay. So it's interesting because I always lean on.
I know why she said that. There's a song. This is so crazy. There's a song by Rufus Du Sol. He's like, do you know that singer?
I don't know. He does.
We'll put it in the show notes. Beautiful song. What's it called? Stay With Me or something? I don't know. We'll put it in the show notes. There's an exact lyric that says, I'll meet you by the water. And I listen to it when I'm at the beach and I feel her presence.
Oh, there you go.
It makes me sob.
That's a beautiful validation.
I could cry just talking about it. So she's acknowledging that.
Yeah, meet me down by the water. I love that. She's a very protective soul. She likes to be around you a lot.
Yeah.
And she said she learned a lot in her life because she liked to teach a lot in her life. And so she kind of can do a good preach job.
Yeah, she's very wise.
Yes.
She passed away when I was 6. So I really didn't get to 6, not sick. I don't know if that was clear. 6 years old. I didn't get to know her that well past that age.
It's funny because I was going to bring up the fact that I think sometimes we have a tendency to lean on family members that we knew very well. And I never met my grandfather, but he comes up in almost every reading that I've ever had. And I always forget that they've been with us for a pretty long time.
Yeah, that's
he died,
true.
I don't know, right before I was born, I think.
Yeah.
And so I play around sometimes with the idea of certain family members being assigned to us.
That makes sense.
And I think, she has an assignment there with you, which is really nice. And of course, they lovingly take it on.
For sure.
So
I did know her actually very well. I should clarify that. It's just that I was young.
Yeah, you were young.
Yeah.
You were young. And so I think that the idea of if you're afraid and you have that anxiety coming, you pull one of your loved ones close to you because they're so comforting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done it. I've asked, if I've had like one of those moments, I'm like, Grandma?
I know. In this room, I'm like,
there
are ghosts, there are aliens. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh
and you never
gosh.
know. But this is a nice space. You're in
I know,
a good
it's
space.
wonderful.
Yeah, but
and
you're just able to pick up. So wherever you go.
Right. Very open and sensitive.
I remember being in Mexico and I was sleeping next to my husband and, Mexico is full of energy. And I watched this very weird sort of sketched out figure walk across the room. And I was in sort of this weird half sleep sort of twilight. And my husband was next to me. And I said to him, did you see that? And he said, yeah, I did.
He did?
Yeah. And it was like, what? And so when somebody else validates something that I'm seeing with the naked eye, those are the times where I'm like, wow, that's kind of,
that
because he doesn't really do that, And I thought, well, instead of thinking about it as like a scary thing, I just said to him, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because it was so neat that he saw it too. So try and have a little fun with it.
Yeah.
And bring your loved ones in with you as
That's
well.
a really, really good tip.
Yeah.
So can we talk to some of my loved ones?
Yeah,
I mean,
let's
I
do
know we've
that.
been talking to my grandma. I love her.
And your grandfather on your father's side.
I know. Okay, so I just thought, you probably hear this all the time, but they're always here. I feel like they're like some of my main
They're your
guides.
main peeps.
They're always with me. What's he
love that.
saying? I love him so much.
Didn't you have a teacher that passed though?
Yeah, we're very
because someone
close.
just said, don't forget the teacher. So
Yeah, Miss
I'm
LeMay.
going to have that person come in as well. She says you need to stretch.
Yeah.
She gave you a good long kind of,
She's so right.
stretching.
My body is so
She
brittle.
said she's been playing with numbers. Remember when I walked in and you said, is it 201 or 301? Yeah. So she said she's been playing with numbers with you. And she says, I keep her in check.
Yeah.
She went like that. She's kind of snapping. She's talking about the month of March as being significant as well. You understand that? And she says that she likes to go traveling with you. She said she's helping you channel more books.
Yes.
And she said you're behind the 8 ball. That's
What does
she
that
said.
mean again?
It means you should have already started some more projects.
Oh, right.
You know,
I see
so
that.
again, it's just
She's
the
right.
idea of getting, she's kind of like that
inspiration
with you.
is there.
Mhm. She says you're absolutely not blocked. So make sure that you pay attention to sort of going forward. She said, don't be afraid to make a move. Residential as well?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. It's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been messing with your cat.
Oh my
She
God.
tells me as well.
Really?
Okay,
In what way?
So if she's been acting a little strange, she says, I mean, I don't have cats, but I know sometimes they can be a little aloof. But
Yeah.
your cat, I don't know if she's been really getting close to you or like.
Well, we are intensely close.
Okay.
It's a boy.
But
We are
is he
insanely close.
Is he getting like, is there like a sleeping thing that's going on? Because
Yeah,
he's-
in the middle of the night, he comes up to my face like this, and we're nose to nose, and it's like we're communicating, like literally touching
she
faces.
thinks that's hilarious. And she's kind of like getting a kick out of him, sort of coming up.
He
There's
is so
something about
wise.
his food that's changing.
Yeah, we need to change his food.
Okay, so I don't know if he's getting
I keep
finicky
getting
or
that.
like something is sort of taking place, but he's trying to tell you
Yeah, he's
that the
not
food
into
needs to
his
be
food.
changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's
I need to get on this like really specific raw food from New Zealand.
any skin stuff going on with him or like anything with
Ooh.
his fur?
Not that I know of.
Good.
But
So that's if I'm seeing the food change and then I start to feel it like on
Okay,
me
I'm
sort of
gonna
thing.
do
Sometimes
that.
it's an allergy thing.
okay.
And so just pay attention to that. He's a little grainish or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a grain thing that I don't love for him, but
Okay, yeah.
just look into that. But she's definitely all over your stuff
Oh,
like this.
That's cool.
Your grandfather is jingling coins in his pocket for me. He says, I was absolutely at the ceremony. And he says, and I was honored there as well. Okay. He says, I walked beside her. Did both of your parents walk you down?
Just my dad.
He walks beside you. Okay. And he says, I've always got my hand on her head and sort of like doing this for you. You understand?
Yeah.
And he says, she's been calling me a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're
That's
calling him
totally
in,
true. I
he
am.
says it like,
Mhm.
I'm always like in the vibe of, in the rotation, so to speak, of coming in.
He is.
He says, tell her, I mean, I can't believe he's saying this to you because I think you do this, but he said, you have to dream bigger.
Okay.
He
No,
meant like
that makes sense.
Makes sense to
Yeah.
you? Okay, good. He said, you don't have to compartmentalize so much.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a free-flowing big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's not sort of this first, then that. It's let it all just kind of come in. Does
That's
that make
great.
sense?
Tons of sense.
You're such a little list maker these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So-
I have like a plan, which is
Yeah.
very unlike me. So I need to just let it go.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So he's sort of telling you, go back to the free flow. You're buying a little bit into the illusion, and that's what's sort of stressing you out.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about renaming roles and sort of playing with the idea. I think it was Jay Shetty who was talking about this, but I love him. But the idea of renaming whatever your world you want it to be,
Right.
and you can create it however you like. And so you are like, I feel like your label should just be like boss. coming into 2020.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. And so they're kind of asking you to own that, especially your grandfather. He's like your biggest cheerleader back there. He's like
so amazing.
Sweet.
I love him.
It all. He put books all around the room. Who's the avid reader?
Me.
You but like, are you piling them up recently?
Oh yeah.
You're like feverish for
all
it.
the time,
is sort
for
of
sure.
How he's saying it. Okay. I don't know what that means.
Probably just that I'm buying all these books that I'm not really reading because I'm buying so many of them.
It's a lot of books.
Yeah.
But he's putting henna all over you.
Really?
Like henna tattoos.
Interesting.
Let's do that. I almost feel like I want you to dive into a little bit more an expansion of positivity, right? And sort of that connection to earth and positivity and all of that. Makes sense? Like it's a mind expansion thing. It's horizons. Yeah. You're connected. You got to do this past life thing.
Yeah,
Wayne
I want
past
to.
Life. I agree. It's sort of this, it's like they're opening you up. Oh yeah, you were definitely, I have you all in henna and
that's
like
really
this
cool.
really kind of even like the ring to the earring kind of a thing, like this really cool past life sort of stuff.
Wow.
And I want you to sort of write about that as well. I want you to have these experiences. But your grandfather is saying because you wanted to talk about soul packs and you guys were definitely in this lifetime together and you're going to experience something that has to do with being part of that culture in this lifetime.
Yeah. No, I feel like I've started to because I've started doing like plant medicine and working with shamans and
there you go.
And it's a path that's very
Does it feel familiar?
To me. Oh, yeah.
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 That's cool. So when you have that connection to different culture, you are probably tapping into past life stuff. Remember, the soul remembers. We all have an imprint. It etches like a thumbprint. And we have these triggers that kind of feel familiar. They sort of remind us, like, I love Egypt. I'm obsessed. Like anytime anything comes on Egyptian, I know I have had to be in a past life there.
Yeah.
And so I was in France a couple of years ago and I knew what was around the corner. I knew every time I turned a corner that it would even feel more familiar. And so those are the types of things that you can start to pay attention to, cultures that you feel really drawn to. And we can learn from them again because it's almost like we're being reminded of what the soul learned and what we were taught. And then you bring it into this lifetime and then you even have more knowledge.
That's
and
very
then you're even
cool.
expanding yourself even more. So play with that. And your grandfather is very into knowledge, likes to kind of, was he self-made?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, yes, he was very content with his life. He was.
Someone's talking about the self-made man.
My dad.
You're your dad.
My dad,
okay.
100%.
He's learned a lot, he said. He's healing really nicely. He's healing. He said, and that's awesome. I love to hear that. He said his smile is genuine again. And he said, you can tell the difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I go into your dad's energy, everything's sort of calm again. And he took like a ton of paperwork and like hot mess kind of stuff. And he put a big gold lock on it as if to say, we're going to put that right over there. All to rest.
For sure.
Good. He said that your dad is learning a lot about picking up where he left off as well. And sometimes that's returning to things that we kind of love to do or really finding ourselves again and understanding our voice. He's just, it's just such a calm feeling that I have around him. Who rides horses or was into the horses?
My best friend, Katie.
And she's passed, Katie?
No,
she's here. Thank God. Okay.
Yeah.
And she has like a female figure on the other side too, like a mom figure, a grandmom figure on the other side.
Could be her grandma.
Okay. And there's a residential change that's coming up for her.
Okay.
There's a bigger commitment that she's going to start to make as well. Do you understand that? And that she's to be super excited about all of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
I love that
because
for
she's
her.
a little nervous. She does not like gray area.
No,
she was here.
Not at all.
She doesn't like gray area at all. But you're helping her a lot. And so the grandmom figure on the other side is thanking you for that. She said you give her tremendous guidance. And she said, I had to come in. And she says, you've kicked some bad people to the curb for her as well. And she's so
hilarious.
grateful for that. Is she in a relationship right now?
No.
there's someone coming her way, but she had to do a lot of house cleaning.
Oh my God.
Before.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say names because they're giving me names, but I told them no.
I'll
say it after. Yeah, because we can't wrap people
hilarious.
up. But she's telling me that she's got a lot of protection around her, and she needed that for a while, and now it's kind of full force.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to accept how smart she is.
Yeah.
As well. She's super smart.
She is.
She's sort of smart. Like, she sort of believed the negativity for a while. And now that's sort of, it could be scary, when you start to hear your voice again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're like, oh, there I am.
Mm-hmm.
Now what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
And she's got a little bit of that for me.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's good. She should do, does she like numbers?
Yeah. She's very organized.
She should do a little numerology.
Oh, yeah. I should like do it. Get her a session.
Yep. Definitely.
Because I introduce her to all the spiritual things.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's good at it. She's got anxiety. She just has to acknowledge her own gifts and sort of like the healer within. And she had, like I said, she had to go through some stuff. But I like the balance that you bring each other. I like Jonathan around her.
Yeah.
So they have a nice, there's like a nice play there. Does he have a brother?
Yep.
Jonathan
does have a brother. They're very close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Talk about Irish twins.
Yeah. They're close.
Yeah. 12 months apart.
They make each other so happy.
I know. It's so cute.
They're like a little tag team of happiness.
They're hilarious
together.
That way.
Yeah. They're really funny.
Very happy people.
And his brother is funny because sometimes we think one sibling is really the one that sort of carries the other. But sometimes when I read, I really can see like that sibling that's either like the firstborn or the one that always seems to have their act together is really the one that relies on the other. And they have that. I like the way his brother sort of puts his head on Jonathan's shoulder.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And
it's really cute.
There's this great infinity between the two of them, which is really beautiful because it's almost like Jonathan would never rat him out, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's like, he knows how
Loyal.
sensitive he is, but he keeps it in check for his brother. It's really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice family unit going on over there, which I really love.
I love it too.
I keep hearing baby makes 3.
Oh, I love that.
Over and over and over again. Nope. Wayne confirms.
Oh, chills.
You think she's going to have 4? Baby makes 4. Oh, because she's going to have 2. Yeah, she's definitely going to have 2. She might have 3.
I want to have 3. I do want to have 3.
Yeah, she might have 3. We'll see. It might be the twin thing. I'm just saying.
If I have twins, oh my God. It would be exciting.
That would be so exciting.
So happy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about glowy skin. So, everybody is asking on social media and in all the other places, how do I get my skin to glow? How do I get my skin to look like yours? All the different things. So, first of all, my skin's actually going through a flare right now, but overall, I feel that my skin glows from the inside out because of my lifestyle, first and foremost. And secondly, because of my skincare products that I'm obsessed with, Osea Malibu. So Osea Malibu is the original plant-based, results-driven skincare line. Obviously, they're based here in Southern California. I'm a huge fan. They have a storefront in Venice that I love to go to and hang out and get facials. So you can go to oseamalibu.com/balancedblonde for $10 off of your first purchase of $50 or more. You will also get free shipping for U.S. orders of $75 or more, and you'll get a free sample with every order. So a few things I love about Osea are that they stand for the elements of wellness, ocean, sun, earth, and atmosphere. So their mission feels very aligned with the Balanced Blonde mission, which is to get back to nature, get back to the earth, and nourish and purify our bodies from the inside out. They're all about that inner radiant glow. So Osea can help with so many different things, from revealing and illuminating your natural radiance, whether you're looking for hydration, oil balancing, anti-aging, or blemish solutions. So I personally am always looking for a blemish solution, but I know my mom is always looking for anti-aging, and we both love these products for different reasons. Every product is sustainably packaged, non-toxic, cruelty-free, vegan, and made with love in California. You can get a personal skin consultation and a customized facial with their in-house experts when you stop by the Osea store. You can speak with a specialist about the best products for you and your long-term skin health. So they're pretty much awesome. I'm sure you've heard me talk about some of their products like their Ocean Cleanser and their Black Algae Mask, which is completely vegan. I've really found that it's been helping me with purification and getting some of those blemishes to calm down. It's very anti-inflammatory, totally natural. Their products are always infused with natural beauty from the earth. So check them out. Go to osea.com/balancedblonde for $10 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Check them out. They are amazing, and tag me on Instagram when you try them. They are my absolute faves. Now let's head back into this episode with MaryAnn.
May has work changes for you.
Okay.
And that all feels like a lot of building and climbing and expansion. They're talking about new people coming into the mix as well. They're talking about different things with your voice. And when I say that, I mean, your story for me gets bigger and you're just sharing. I know you've shared so much of this journey, and now you're going to share so much of the healing that has taken place. It's sort of like getting over to the other side of it all, and how because it's interesting, you can be healed but still be triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I have a friend who really went through a lot of terrible time with Lyme. And it took her a long time, and I think she's still working on it, honestly, and you can validate it if this relates to you. But it's hard to not think like a sick person.
So hard.
Right? Because everything feels with Lyme especially, you're always waiting for that shoe to drop because you just never know how it's going to behave.
Exactly.
And so they're talking about you really teaching people how to see through that fog and understand that it's okay to be cautious and it's okay to be thoughtful, but to put it in a place and allow it its moment and not allow it to kind of overtake, so that everything becomes fearful.
That makes
they're
sense.
all applauding you for being in New York.
Yay.
Because this was a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
Like even to get on the plane.
Huge deal.
Was like a big deal. And you almost didn't come.
Nope. Exactly.
Like a couple of days before.
Yeah.
Like I feel like 2 or 3 days you were like, maybe
anxiety.
I'll just, cancel out and I'll get out of here and that'll be it. And they said, no, that this is it.
Oh, I'm so glad.
You did a good job.
I'm really, really glad that I ended up here.
I'm so happy because I got to see you, which
I know
we never get to do. So that
seriously
was
so special.
That was really, really good.
How cool. Oh my God, I love this.
You need to kind of do you have angel cards or anything?
I have like different tarot cards and things at home. Mm-hmm. But if there's a deck you recommend or...
Well, I like a deck called Universal Angel Cards. I've been using that forever. Nora Monaco and Juliet Jeffries.
Okay.
There's a middle name, Hobbs. Juliet Hubbs Jaffrey, I think is who it is, but it's Universal Angel Cards, and you can get them on Amazon. I like those. I love Gabby's decks. Gabby Bernstein's decks
I have
are
hers.
fantastic.
They're so
Super
great.
Attractor and The Universe Has Your Back. Those are both fabulous decks. Those are great affirmations. Mm-hmm. And the other one, the one that I spoke about prior, has words on them, and then so you pick a word, and that's a great affirmation. But I would like you to get decks to read people.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think I want to kind of veer you away from the affirmation decks and really have you find a deck that works for you. Now, you can go straight tarot if you want. And I always tell people, don't read the interpretations of the tarots, interpret yourself. Mm-hmm. Wayne, do you agree with that? He's a tarot. He does tarot. You love your cards. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So that's great. Yeah.
And so the idea then is that the reason why I don't love an interpretation given to you is because I think that you can really open up more if you learn how to interpret your own signs and symbols that spirit is giving to you. And so the expansion then begins. You can use the cards, but as you flip them, you're going to look and you're going to say, what does that card mean to me? Or what is the message that I'm supposed to give this person? And then allow for the signs and symbols and images to come through that way, or the voice in itself, and then deliver the message that way. I think that sometimes when an interpretation is given to you, it can confine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so have a little fun. Get Jordan reading.
I would love that. When I've done some plant medicine experiences with ayahuasca, I was shown me with a tarot deck, and it was like my language. Like I understood it.
Well, that's
completely.
a great confirmation that I didn't know you did that. So this is good. This is a good confirmation then for you. Yeah. So what they're showing you is what you're capable of doing. And so start to work. I always tell people, if you've been taking classes, and you and I have been speaking for a while, so you're being taught and you're being shown. And so that's great. And so if they're kicking it up a level, start with your friends, have people that you sort of trust come in, and maybe they have a question in their mind that you know nothing about. And then you can start to pull the cards for them and then interpret that way.
I love that.
I do like a crystal next to you when you're reading. Okay. Because I like a good conductor. That feels really nice. Have you been playing with pendulums?
Yeah, I love pendulums.
Okay. So they kind of put the pendulums out there.
I love
Just
them.
remember to sage all of your tools, whatever it is that you use. You're funny. You do have sort of a witchy past life. You've got some Wicca stuff going on. I can see the rods, coming in. I wonder if she was in Salem.
I feel like I was.
Yeah,
I almost wrote a book about
Salem
it.
Vibe
I
going
almost
on.
wrote, when I was in Bali, I got this crazy inspiration to write a fiction book about the Salem witch trials.
There you go.
And then I was going to order all these books on Amazon and read up on it and
You've
do
already
it.
been there. You might as well just write.
I know. I could probably, and I was going to reread The Crucible. This is all coming back to me.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Here's a quick past life little thing that you can do if you want. And your listeners can do this. This is a fun one. You can put yourself into meditation however you like. It doesn't have to be complicated. Do deep breathing. If you're not a meditator out there and you find it difficult, just do some nice conscious breath. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Ask your guides for protection and light. And then you can picture a door in front of you, any door that you want. You can make it as ornate or simple as you like. And as you walk through the door, if you're a little nervous, you can have a guide walk with you or a loved one. And you're going to walk through the door, telling yourself you're protected and being guided. When you walk through, there should be a mirror in front of you. And again, you can make the mirror as ornate or simple as you like. You could be in a room, you can be on a street, wherever. But I want you to pay attention to your reflection and what you look like. And you could start by looking down at your shoes. Sometimes they'll look like they're from a different era, And as you gaze up into the mirror, you might then see an image that is not the reflection as you know it today. And so you'll start to kind of play with the idea of who was I in that past life.
That's really fun.
I've done that where I've been on actually the streets of New York as they look very much right now where we are down here, because the cobblestone and things like that. And as you get good at it and you expand on that, you can really start to get full stories of who you were.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And as you come out of it, again, you want to exit that door, protect, bring white light, bring yourself back into your space. Do that in a really purposeful way, because you want to come back protected and grounded. And write out what it is that you saw, and you will start to see a whole story. And I will be shocked if you did that and wouldn't wind up in Salem somewhere, or
that's very
something
cool.
Salem-ish.
Yeah, so funny, because I do that. And without you, before I even knew that was a thing, I
cool.
do that where I'll just stare into the mirror, and then I'll see so many different facets of myself, just kind of
people do that
changing
awake,
and
staring into the mirror, as your eyes are open, literally staring into a physical real mirror.
Oh, no, that's what I meant.
Oh, is that what you do? And
that's
the images
what I
change?
actually
Do you do those?
Yeah.
That kind of freaks me out. But yeah, people do that.
Well, I see the shape shifting on everyone's
Isn't
face.
that cool?
Which is an interesting gift.
That is
but
a
I see
very
it with
good
you as
gift,
well.
because that could be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it's.
Well, I don't see it on everyone. I only see it on people who are very open, either spiritual teachers, shamans, or people who meditate every day. I'll see it in them. But I can't just see it in anybody.
That's because you're, and that's really good, because what it is that you've learned how to put boundaries to your gift. And anyone out there who is doing a spiritual practice in this way and really opening themselves up, you have to remember to put boundaries. When I was young, I saw some pretty heavy things because I was little and I didn't know what I was doing. I remember being able to smell illness on people.
Oh, wow.
As well. And I wrote about this in my book about seeing death on somebody the day prior to their passing, and I understood it immediately when I heard that the person had passed. I understood that the gray haze that I saw her in was death. And so when I started to do this work, I asked my guides, please don't show me that. I don't want to see negativity. I don't want to see illness, and I don't want to see death, and it's contractual with me. And so if you're looking, I have a lot of people say to me, MaryAnn, I see really scary things, or I'm nervous. I can predict very scary things. And so you're in control of not having that energy come towards you. They do it because they can, or because you're just capable. We're not working on the correct frequency. And so you want to raise that vibration up and work on the correct frequency, and you're in charge.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's really important to do
Yeah,
that
for
so that you don't
sure.
open yourself up to kind of heaviness. Who wants that?
No,
Nobody
not
would want
me. So I have a couple specific questions for my guides or
Okay.
ancestors, if that's okay.
Yes, of
We'll see if they
course.
have anything to say about it. One of those is, with the plant medicine, since we were talking about it.
Are you making a product?
No, well, maybe. I've thought about it.
Yeah.
That's
Eventually,
cool.
you're going to have your own products.
Okay,
and the
cool.
reason why, let me just get into that and I'll let you question because they popped it up. You have such a belief in here's the thing. It's almost like you're a bit of a guinea pig, like you're sort of
For
experimental. Yeah. And so I think that you actually walking the walk and really understanding what works and what doesn't is crucial to your own well-being. And then, of course, you're going to teach that to others.
Yeah.
And then you are going to come up with something that feels like, I love CBD oil, like something that feels very CBD-ish, like a line like that, where I feel like it's helping people calm, open up, be able to maybe have a little bit of experience of different consciousness and, kind of that sort of feeling.
That's exactly what I envision.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Good. I love it.
Yeah.
Do that.
I will.
That's like a 3-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say 5, but it's not.
Okay.
It's like a 3-year plan.
Yeah, that's really
I'm sorry.
interesting.
So Spirit interrupted your question.
Oh,
So
yeah.
go
No,
ahead.
I love that they did. Anything they want to say is good with me. But yeah, plant medicine, because I've done ayahuasca a few times and a lot of like mushrooms. It's been very healing for me with mine.
Yes.
And not to be fearful, but I occasionally feel like, and hopefully everyone listening will know when I, not think that I sound way too crazy, but feel like I might be losing my mind at times.
Yes.
And
that's very normal for that.
I don't know. And I mean, not while I'm doing plant medicine,
Afterward,
like a
you're talking
year
about.
later, I'm like, I don't know if I'm in touch with reality anymore. And so I get a little scared. Like, is that still a path for me? Because it's been so healing, or should I just like not?
I think it is a path for you.
Okay,
Definitely.
okay.
Yeah. I think you have to understand that what you've done is you've opened a really big portal and a really big door. And when you've done that, in order to be able to continue to experience it consistently, you have to honor it. And so that's why it can come on as a little shocking sometimes, because you have to sort of revisit it continually and as a practice. And when you don't, remember I talked to you how my guides will come in and jar me. That's what's happening.
That is what's happening.
Yeah. So it's really just to get you to pay attention to the fact that you did all this work, you opened up yourself, and now they're saying to you, don't lose sight of that. And we're going to continue to come back and remind you, boom,
That's
you
great.
have now opened yourself up to even a bigger level of consciousness.
Yeah, Wayne, say something.
Everything that MaryAnn just said to you, 100%. I also get
That's right.
remind you that MaryAnn just
It's such a good point, because what happens is I think that we can really get wrapped up, and I always say this to people too. Remember, we still have one foot in this world, and we're here to learn, and there's a reason behind that. And so what they're telling you is, stay connected and do all of this, and now pull it back and learn it in this world as well and apply it here to what your journey is and what you're doing and your work and all of that lovely stuff. And when we stay elevated, first of all, it's exhausting. Our energy is not supposed to be up here all the time. It is supposed to be right where we are, and that is earthly and on this earthly plane.
Right.
The idea of raising it to that higher level of vibration because of where they are, and we want to make connection with that universe, is great. But if we don't pay attention to our chi and our own energy and where we are, because this is our realm, we're in this earthly realm, we will definitely exhaust ourselves.
Okay, so that might be the answer to my next question, which is that. So starting, when did these begin? Maybe last summer, I started getting these like extremely intense panic attacks occasionally.
Yes.
And they will either come on like fully out of nowhere where I'm like, whoa, I've been fine. What's going on? Or it'll be when I'm on a plane, different things, like extremely intense where I have to like take myself out of the situation and I literally feel like I'm going to die. What is that?
That is because you are remaining at that high level of vibration. Remember how I had said in the beginning, a lot of psychics experience anxiety and they don't understand. The reason why is because they're working, they're so elevated all the time, so heightened and so paying attention to that anxiety, and they're not realizing that they're open. Okay. You're actually working on being open, realize that you're open. You're just not coming down and doing that protective work that I said is so important. When you go onto a plane, especially, you remember what a plane can feel like for a lot of people. They're petrified. Maybe they're not feeling well. Sometimes a plane's like a petri dish of nastiness as it is. And so that's a perfect scenario of walking into a situation as an empath and being this high in your elevation. You're going to feel everyone's thoughts, every ailment that they have, everything that they're carrying on to a stressful situation for most people. And so, of course, that's going to manifest itself as a panic attack in the biggest form. The other part of that is that you can really become a scenario cooker in your thinking when you're working in this level as well. And so our minds aren't grounded as they should. And so then the story really can multiply and manifest itself in what can feel like a very stressful situation. I know for myself as a mom, I can really go there in the worry area. And doing this work, especially, and experiencing the idea of death on many different levels. It's amazing how many ways people can pass, can really send me into a panic as a mom, right? Because of course I want to protect my children. So I always have to remind myself to come back to an earthly place and to not live in the anxiety and live in the worry. It's not always easy to do, but if I've been doing a lot of readings and I've been up in that area, by Friday, I'm like, I don't know where my children are. Like, you can really get yourself into, you see what I'm saying? And so that's why I always tell people, we have to remember the practice. We have to respect it. And you do. Respect the grounding part as well. Respect the practice of, I'm just going to go down to the beach and talk to my grandma for a little while. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
The simplicity of our connection to spirit is probably, I think, the most powerful part of what we can own as a human. Yeah. Is that really that simplicity, that slight touch of, I miss you, grandma. And just feeling the love and the response can sometimes be even more powerful than taking ourselves to different levels of consciousness and seeing what's past this world, right?
Yeah. Do you want to share your headset with him? Because I think he has something to say about this as well.
Do you?
Yeah, because if you want to say it on the microphone, we can do this. Is it long enough? I know. Put it on. I know you had a thought about the panic attack thing.
I'm a Virgin headset user here.
Oh, nice. And everyone listening, Wayne is a fellow psychic. He came with MaryAnn today. Very talented.
Thank you. And thank you, MaryAnn, for bringing me. This is been really educational and exciting. But everything that MaryAnn was saying to you about getting on the plane and all of that, and picking up everyone's energies and being an empath, there's also, I'm getting for you, there's one piece that I just want to bring to your attention that might help you in being able to deal with that or understand it. And what I see for you is that you are connected exactly like MaryAnn is saying, and I see your ego freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
In that it doesn't want to let go. And so that is really what is, that's a part of what's going on for you. Picking all of that up is bringing you to your energy, and then the ego is not in control because you're connected to the energy.
Right.
So if you could have your ego step aside, that might help to give you some peace during those moments.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes. It's like the lack of control that always scares me.
The ego is so funny because I think that because we are practicing this type of spirituality, and we're kind of exempt from a panic attack. We should know how to ground ourselves. What do you mean? We should be able to ground ourselves immediately. We should feel protected at all times, right? And it's really just not the case.
Yeah.
And so that pesky ego does get the best of us. And so you want to, like Wayne said, put it aside and try to just honor and acknowledge the moment that I need to breathe and I need to take a moment and it's going to be okay. And I'm feeling everything. And once you acknowledge what's going on, put it in its place and put it into perspective, you'd be amazed at how much you calm down when you kind of
that makes sense.
Bring it to this little level here where we're all at. This learning level. We're learning.
Yeah.
All of us.
We are.
No matter how elevated we get, we're still learning. And even doing this work for as long as I have, I'm sure Wayne feels the same way. He's been doing it a long time too. I learn something every single day from a reading or in my own experience, what flies out of my mouth. For somebody looking and reading your energy is always a learning experience of where they'll take me and what they can show me. And I think it's just fascinating.
Yeah, it's
that we're
so
all
interesting.
These students in this grand big space.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So then one other question I have is in regards to food, the way that I eat for healing. I feel like I've found a way of life that really works for me. And then I started, are you familiar with the medical medium?
Yes,
Anthony?
yes.
A fellow
I've never met
medium. Well, he's incredible.
Yeah, I've heard wonderful things about him.
And I've been eating really like a medical medium style of diet.
Okay.
Which of course doesn't include coffee and all sorts of things that I've had since I've been here. But I'm curious about whether my guides or my grandmother, anyone has anything to say about if that's working for me.
It's mostly plant-based, right?
It's 100%
100%. I mean, I've always loved plant-based for you. I think it's just the way your body functions.
It totally is.
It's interesting because I'm not plant-based, but I very much had to eliminate sugar from my diet, and and this past week or something, I must have been picking up on your vibes because I've been like way off, and I was mad at the fact that I allowed the week to happen, but I let it go because I thought everybody has a stressful week, and then I was fascinated though that I figured out the mechanics of my body and how it works. I mean, I'm older than you. And so, every 10 years or so, you sort of have to reconfigure and sort of figure it out. When I'm reading you, I feel like you have found how your body works. And I always see that when it clicks, it looks like the innards of a watch, like it just ticks and feels right. The thing with you is don't get discouraged if every so often you have to adjust.
Right.
Because your chemical balance and everything that your body has been through will sometimes play a little game with you. And so that's why sometimes it can feel like, I'm not quite sure if this is working spot on, but I love it for you. I love what it does for, I think we weren't taping when I was saying to you, your gut for me was giving me a lot of angst, and it's probably because you've been so off.
Yeah.
And so the idea of this plant-based, clean. I don't love the berries so much for you. The fruit is where I sort of hesitate a little bit. Just, and I think it's more citrusy, actually. I don't think it's the berries.
Yeah, I do not.
I don't
citrus.
like the citrus
It's interesting because in the medical medium diet protocol for Lyme, there's a lot of berries and there's a lot of oranges. And there's a lot of fruit.
Okay. I don't mind the berries because they're showing me strawberries and blueberries and I'm really good with that. But I don't love the citrus for you. And bananas.
So many bananas in my room.
Is separate from Lyme. I think it's just the way your body is. Just be careful of your intake. It's just a digestion thing.
Okay.
Actually has nothing to do with anything other than just probably how you've always been, honestly.
Right.
So just watch that. Not a fan of nuts and seeds for you right now. But I think they'll make a comeback.
Okay.
I don't mind almonds, and I don't know why.
Oh, that's good because I love almonds.
I have no medical background. You know that. I have no nutritional background, but they just show me this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I like what you're doing. I think at times, though, you're going to suffer with some cravings.
Right. That does happen.
Yeah. And then they'll pass.
Right.
And you're dairy-free too, right?
Yeah, dairy-free. Are there any foods they're showing that are like really safe? Like always I can eat them and they won't
Do you eat
upset
vegan
me?
cheese?
Yeah, at times.
I like that for you.
Okay.
It feels like a treat.
It is a treat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good.
I mean,
So
for me, it's
give
like I
yourself
don't eat it
those
that much.
treats every so often. There's something about, do they make like an almond milk sort of cheese or something.
Yeah, there's some really good ones.
Yum.
Mhm.
You have to, do you eat one? Do you have one that you like?
Yeah, so there's
Send them
they're
to
made
me.
of cashews, the
That's
one that I really like,
Good.
called Parmella's Creamery.
Okay. I
Jonathan,
love those
we
for
keep
you.
it around all the time. Yeah, he eats
that's
it all the
good.
time.
I like that. Indulge every so often kind of is how
Okay.
they're saying it in what is appropriately your indulge,
Mhm.
your indulgement, whatever it may be. I love that.
Cool.
They're also talking about a chocolate supplement as well, something that would take over what would be your sweet.
Oh, right.
That feels very avocado based.
Oh, okay.
So that can be, I have a friend of mine who makes the most amazing sugar-free avocado chocolate thing. It's like a
Sounds
peanut, but it's like a peanut butter
amazing.
cake. I don't know what it is, but it's all natural and vegan and
Love that kind
like
of stuff.
ridiculously good. So
Mhm.
dense. That's
Yeah.
what they're showing me for you. So I want you to make sure that you're having little things along the way
Right.
that feel fun. Do you drink alcohol at all?
No.
None, right?
None.
Have you been coming up with mocktails?
Not really.
I that's like a book thing for me.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Like where I feel like you're coming up with some really good fizzy,
Yeah.
not fuzzy ones, that's gross, but like fizzy mocktails.
Yeah.
And I want you to play around with that. And I feel like Jonathan helps you with that.
Oh, he would love that.
And then it actually becomes, it's video.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
I can see you guys kind of doing that together.
Fun.
And he's like, shaking it up for me. And I love that. And that feels like a project, but I like the plant-based stuff on you.
Okay, good. Me
Just
too.
watch your berry. Just watch the fruit intake a little bit. I can't get away from it.
Yeah, it's because I've been eating so much
Is that
fruit,
what-
and you must be picking
'Cause
up
you
on
got
it.
the green light on fruit,
So
you were
much
like,
fruit
yeah.
because of
'Cause
the
it's a
medical
treat.
medium, and I mean he's amazing, and he's helped me a lot. And
Yeah.
I really trust him, but so I'm eating so much more fruit than normal, and dates. I don't know how you feel about dates. I know they're very sugary.
I mean, I love dates personally, but I know that they're so high in sugar, so I try to keep them. I mean, are you putting everything in a smoothie? Is that what you're doing?
Well, I mean, I eat the dates separately, but yeah, there's a smoothie.
I have a lot of smoothie stuff. So
like that's good.
I think you can control it more if it's put in the smoothie.
Right.
And so instead of sitting down and eating like 10 dates, which is what I would do.
Right.
You could put 2
Me
in your
too.
smoothie and then it kind of, because if the dates are in front of me, I will eat the whole thing.
They're so
and
good.
so they're kind of putting it where they're having you put it in the smoothie. And this way it feels a little bit more controlled.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's, I feel like I've got a handle on it. I don't know how else to describe it. Like
it's
it feels
much better than it's ever been.
I'm
in my life.
not obsessive,
Mhm,
which is super important to our health,
Totally.
right? We don't want to be too obsessive. And I feel like it has a nice routine behind it. It feels like you don't have to think so hard anymore about it. The only thing that I feel like I would probably, I'm putting a lot of greens in you. So I would find the greens before the pinks and blues.
That makes a ton of sense, which is the stuff that I really love anyway. I mean, I'm obsessed with like kale and stuff. I was just thinking how it's my favorite food, which is so weird because I don't think a lot of people would feel that way, but I think
love
it's so
kale
good.
myself. I mean, it's a good thing. Are you allowed legumes?
Not on this medical medium style, but when I'm back to the way that I usually eat, yes.
You do that. Okay. Because they did kind of fold that in.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the kale.
Oh, good. Because I
would put chickpeas, like something like that, something that I would normally do.
Yeah.
And so they sort of folded that back in and they said, just have patience there. They are telling me you're coming back to New York, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
So great. Then I'll get to see you again. And I do have you coming back. But this, I have to say again, this year for you is such a tremendous growth year. Like, I mean, I already think you're just a beautiful shining star, but this is massive.
Wow.
This is like growth beyond growth. But the thing that I'm most excited about, and I don't know if you feel this on her way, and I know you do, is that your voice is so strong. Like it's no nonsense. It's beautiful. Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Like it is reaching the masses. And I mean, I love when you reach the masses and I know that you do, but this has such a different tone to it where it's just so authentically you and it's written down, it's on video, it's everywhere and it feels beautiful.
That's amazing.
I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Any
feel that.
skin care stuff that you've been playing around with as well?
Like to create, or I've been thinking about it.
So remember we talked about repetitive themes, right? So they put me right into your thoughts. Then they yelled out idea book. So make sure that you start writing these down in your idea book. They're going to channel the steps that you need to take to get things done. I have a lot of scientists around you, so I'm assuming that has to do with creating product that is safe and smart and sustainable, just the way, everything that you love. And so all of that comes into play. And I feel like I'm putting on a really beautiful like face cream or something like that. Like it has a luxury kind of feel to it that I would want to have, but it's so safe. And it's, I always tell my friend, I feel for her after Lyme for so long, she had such a sensitivity, like histamine kind of sensitivity. And this takes that into consideration. The smell isn't even very strong. Like the feel, the texture is more important. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's what I would want.
And so when I see it kind of going on the body, it feels like I'm not getting a trigger by it. Like it feels really good sensitivity wise. Yeah, it feels good.
That's such a good thing.
Take the roof off this year.
Yeah.
Don't hit the ceiling. Just rip it off and just go on forward.
Yeah.
You're also at an award show or something.
Cool.
What's that about? I see red carpet stuff. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Stuff. So you're either honoring or being honored in some way.
Right.
Speaking. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's very cool.
And I actually think the medical medium has something to do with that.
That could be.
Anthony, right?
We've been doing some stuff together. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's I don't know if you're doing a collab with him. I don't want to put it out there.
Well,
if it's not
I would
supposed
love
to be, but
Anthony,
something's going on there. Yeah. Something's happening there.
That's really cool.
Good.
Oh, what was the one thing I was just going to ask? I think this is what I was going to ask. I'm not sure. So just about the healing memoir that I want to write. That is like kind of the biggest inspiration for me. Oh yeah. This was a question from my teacher, Miss LeMay, who I was so close to, who's like, I think of her every single day. I mean, like, is there a timeline or am I just ready or...
Remember, I think I had said you were behind the 8 ball, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
You have to, you should have been doing this already. She said you let the hesitation get the best of you.
So much
other people's voices,
right?
Things like that. So she said, but that's okay because timing is timing and there is no time. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And so the reason why you're feeling antsy about it is because you're just ready to do it.
Yeah.
And no one's going to tell you different. And so she's definitely pushing you to do that. She said, please start at the beginning with your memoir, which is before your Lyme.
Right. It's true.
So she's kind of bringing you down. Oh, this is interesting. She's bringing you down in age. Before I got here, I thought we were going to talk a lot about the word approval and the need to feel like we've done good and, getting our heads patted. And I think that comes into play in the memoir and sort of that writing of where does it start? Where does it start? I've been playing around a lot with the word approval. And so I've been doing this meditation that kind of takes me to the beginning of where I felt I needed that. Like, where did that start? And they have that same thing for you. So go to the beginning of your healing journey. Allow them to take you back into a meditation. You could do it in meditation. And they'll bring you back to a memory and start there.
Okay.
And write about that. And maybe your word might not be approval. It might be something else. But it definitely feels, nope, she said stop it and stick with approval. She's very right to the point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she is. And she was.
Yeah. Sometimes it's that idea of having to do better and do good and needing that and feeling only accomplished when that happens. Does that make sense to you? Okay. And so she's going to come in and she wants you to kind of start there.
Wow.
She says, because emotional healing comes along with physical healing.
That's extremely true.
Yeah.
I love her.
She's
hilarious.
She's great.
Right?
She gets right to the point. Yeah.
Feel something from her too,
she's
Wayne?
Like wagging the finger at us. Wayne says, yeah, she like gets right to the point.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah,
Right,
you're not
there
going to
is.
list make this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's so true.
List
That's
making
so true.
can be really helpful,
Okay.
right? Compartmentalizing things can be really great.
Mhm.
This is just not your year to do that.
No, that's totally
It's
true.
fluidity
Yeah.
for you.
Well, that's
all.
good because I don't even like making
One
lists.
big, yummy, juicy picture
Mm-hmm.
is everything that you're going to make. It's really powerful when we let go of time,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
What we do is we allow for expectations to fall by the wayside, and we can really ease in and surrender into the trust and the timing of the universe. And that's incredibly powerful. When we do that, it's really hard. But when we do, we open ourselves up to so many more opportunities that we didn't even know were possible, and doors open that we never thought were going to open. And that's what's going to happen when you I love that you're not going to make lists when you don't make these lists this year, and you allow for everything to happen at once, because we can give birth to a lot of things at many different times.
Yeah.
Real physical births,
So
but we can really create constantly. And I think that that's just incredibly cathartic to do that on all levels.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Wow. Well, this is fun with you guys.
So fun. You're so great. You're doing great too.
Oh, thank you.
You are.
I'm so happy and just, so grateful to share this wisdom with everyone listening, because I know your belief is that everyone is psychic, everyone is intuitive. And the fact that everyone can tap into this and people who are listening can learn from you guys is so awesome.
If you're listening and you are even doubting for one moment that you don't have the power to connect with a loved one, I can tell you wholeheartedly that is just incorrect, and that you're worthy of the connection. You're supposed to connect. It lives within you. It is part of your soul. And it's the greatest gift that the universe has given us. And each and every one of us is entitled to use that and allowed to use it for the greater good, with positivity behind it. And that's something that no one can ever take from you. You're never alone in this world. You have this great team on the other side that's willing to be with you if you're willing to listen.
So beautiful.
It's great, isn't it?
Yes.
So comforting.
Yes.
And you have done an amazing, beautiful job through this journey that's been really tough of listening and trusting more than anything. You're probably one of the most trustful people I've ever seen.
Wow.
Who has just sort of put their belief in the fact that you are being guided through this, and that sometimes this world is flawed, and that our bodies, these vessels that we carry, are imperfect, and they're designed to be because they create experience and they create lesson.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're plugging through and relying on what you know and still expanding the mind and trusting, you're teaching everybody a really beautiful lesson, and you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fabulous. Well, this is so great. So tell everyone where they can find you.
They can find me on MaryAnnTheMedium.com is my website. I'm also on Instagram at MaryAnnTheMedium, and Facebook and Twitter at MaryAnnTheMedium. And if you want to see me, I'm in New York. I have a 5-year wait list for private readings, and I'm not taking any names, but I do large groups and I do workshops, and I'm doing more and more workshops. In 2020, my goal is to really teach more and to mentor more people into their spirituality, into their gifts. Yes, you included, and Wayne included. And we're going to just, wake everybody up.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. So that's how you can get in touch with me.
Yeah. And we'll hopefully have an event together in the West
California.
Coast.
Yeah, I want to go to the West Coast and do something there. I have a lot of people that have been reaching out. So if you guys are interested, throw me a little message and let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do something together.
For sure.
That'd be fun.
Yay. Well,
Thanks for
thank you for
having me.
coming on. Thank you, Wayne, for hanging out and speaking as well. And MaryAnn, you're wonderful. I love you so much.
Thank you. I love you.
Yes, I love you. All right, guys, how blown is your mind from this episode with MaryAnn and also with her friend Wayne, who I'm so happy was there so that he could chime in and we could share all of the mediumship from every angle with you guys. I seriously have been so inspired ever since this episode with MaryAnn, this recording that we did, to tap more into my gifts. I've been working with MaryAnn as my teacher, my spiritual guide. I talk to her all the time. time. Like I said, today, the day of recording this intro, is her birthday. So I've been chatting with her, wishing her a happy birthday, sending voice messages back and forth. And after spending time with her, I feel that my psychic abilities have been heightened. My intuition has been heightened, and I'm talking to my angels and my guides and the Pleiadians every single day, getting really, really clear messages from my grandmother, my loved one. The way that MaryAnn said, we can call on our loved ones to protect us, especially if we're feeling a little bit out of sorts or a little bit, anxious or unsafe at times, which I like to believe that we're never unsafe no matter what, because everything's happening the way that it's meant to. But I love being able to call on my ancestors, my angels, my loved ones, my guides. MaryAnn has taught me so much, and I really hope and know that this episode with her has been an awesome treat for all of us. I hope that you feel inspired to tap into your intuition, to speak to your guides, to ask those questions, to let it all come forth. And then, of course, wanted to remind you that the Balance Wand digital store is live. So if you want to dive into all this fun stuff, you can now purchase Waking Back Up to Your Own Soul on my digital store, where we go deep into channeling, intuition, releasing ancestral trauma, a lot of things that I learned on plant medicine journeys and beyond. And you can use that code SOULFAM for 11% off of Waking Back Up to Your Soul, or for any of the bundles on the Balance Wand digital store. And that code is only available for a couple more days. Also, if you feel called to rate and review the podcast, email me a screenshot and I will send you a free gift via email. And huge thank you to our sponsors for today's episode, Hum Nutrition, Beauty Supplements. You can use the code SOUL for 20% off. And Osea, my favorite Malibu-based skincare. You can go to the link osea.com/balancedblonde for that special discount offering that they have for us. Huge thank you to MaryAnn for joining us. Check her out. She doesn't take clients anymore. She has a 5-year wait list. She's just a badass like that. But you can see what kind of events she's doing maybe in your area. I know her and I are going to try to host one together in California soon, perhaps with some other friends of ours as well. So stay tuned for that. Definitely check out her first book. Stay tuned for what's on the horizon with her. Thank you for being here. I hope everyone has the most amazing Soul on Fire day. I love you all. Mwah. Talk next week.